new wave of TV and film adaptations of popular board games is on the horizon. Toy maker Hasbro, since acquiring Studio Entertainment 1, or E1, for $4 billion, is looking to move full steam ahead and expand even further into film and TV productions. E1 is working on several adaptations of toys and games, including Power Rangers, Action Man, G.I. Joe, Clue, and Monopoly. Probably the most surprising adaptation to come out of this deal, however, is the breaking news that the strategy board game Risk is now going to be adapted into a television series. In this video, I'd like to talk about the history of this popular game and E1's ambitious attempt to bring this property to life on screen. Risk was created by French film director Albert Lamouris and was released in 1957. It was later purchased by Parker Brothers and re-released in 1959 as Risk: The Continental Game, then later as Risk: The Game of Global Domination, along with some rule modifications. The strategy game itself involves conquest and diplomacy that pits up to 6 players and their armies against each other in a battle over territory. The game board depicts a political map of the world divided into 42 territories across 6 continents. Players' actions are determined by dice rolls, and their goal is to eventually conquer every province. Games can run for long hours, days possibly. Alliances can be forged and broken as the winner eventually eliminates the other players and conquers all. Risk became one of the most popular games of the genre, with its straightforward premise making it accessible for children as well as adults, while providing a gameplay environment that fosters complex interactions. It has become one of the most well-known board games in history. It has inspired other popular games as well, including Axis and Allies and Settlers of Catan. Many variants of Risk have been produced over the years, but most based on big-name franchises, including versions based on Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Doctor Who, Star Trek, the MCU, and many others. The classic board game has also been adapted into various video game versions for PC, consoles, and mobile apps throughout the years. But now, for the first time, and in a rather surprising move, Risk is being adapted into a TV series. In an article from Deadline, it was announced that Beau Willimon has been brought on to write and oversee this ambitious project. Willimon's past credits include creating the Netflix series House of Cards and working as showrunner for its first 4 seasons. Willimon also created the short-lived Hulu space drama The First, about the first manned mission to Mars starring Sean Penn. Willimon wrote the first 2 episodes of the series, however it was cancelled after just 1 season. He currently serves as executive producer on Netflix's Grand Army. His screenwriting credits also include 2018's Mary Queen of Scots and 2011's The Ides of March. The adaptation of Risk is the first project in collaboration between E1 and Willimon and Jordan Tappis' production company, Westward, after signing a multi-year deal. Michael Lombardo, president of Global Television at E1, in a statement announcing this collaboration for an adaptation of Risk, said, quote, "As we continue to build out E1's world-class content slate, we couldn't think of more perfect partners than Beau and Jordan, whose award-winning storytelling and imagination are among the best in the business. In Beau, we found an amazing combination of brilliant producer, singular creator, and avid fan of Risk. We can't wait to work with him and the rest of the Westward team to reimagine that brand and so much more." Willimon and Tappis added to this statement saying, quote, "All of us at Westward are thrilled to join forces with E1 to bring to life some of the most successful IP in the marketplace, as well as partner on our extensive slate of scripted television shows. We're excited to develop Risk as our first project together." The series is still very much in the early stages, so at this time, there are no details regarding the premise for the show, casting, or a release date. The project does not even have a buyer yet, so it's unclear as to where the show will debut. E1's catalog of productions also include ABC's The Rookie, CW's Burden of Truth, NBC's Nurses, as well as the upcoming shows Cruel Summer on Freeform and Yellow Jackets on Showtime. It's good to know that Beau Willimon is such a fan of Risk, and I'll be very interested to see how this project develops, especially in regards to casting and plot details. An adaptation of Risk comes as an understandable surprise to many, considering that there really isn't a defined story for the board game. This is one of the reasons it's been able to be so easily adapted into other variants like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. The setting or theme can be changed, but the premise stays the same as a strategy game of conquest and diplomacy. Many narratives could certainly be formed around armies and conflict. This can allow for great freedom when it comes to storytelling. However, how the spirit of the game itself can be adapted so that the series is clearly reminiscent of Risk certainly sounds like a challenge. These kinds of adaptations have always been tricky and a hit and miss with fans and general audiences. Studios are more ready and willing to take this challenge on, with Dungeons & Dragons now being adapted into a film franchise, a Kevin Hart film based on Monopoly, and a Clue remake with Ryan Reynolds in development as well. I certainly enjoy the original Clue starring Tim Curry, and always thought it was an excellent adaptation of the popular murder mystery board game. The setting, the characters, and the inclusion of the alternate endings to showcase the nature of the game itself was well done in my opinion. However, it was not well received upon its theatrical release, instead becoming a beloved cult classic through the passage of time. Clue, however, has somewhat of a narrative built into the game, whereas Risk does not. Risk is more in line with Battleship in concept, which was also adapted into a big-budget film in the year 2012. Battleship is a type of strategy game where two players take turns calling shots in an attempt to destroy the other's naval fleet. In the film adaptation, the story featured an extraterrestrial element as Earth's naval ships battled against an alien fleet. The film did not meet its commercial expectations, earning only $65 million in North America, though it did end up grossing just over $300 million overall against its $220 million budget. Several critics thought the film attempted to copy the cinematic style of Michael Bay's Transformers franchise, while going to convoluted lengths to create a sequence that mimicked the original board game. So while it's important to highlight the spirit of the original property, without a well-crafted and compelling story to draw audiences in, those elements won't matter much in the long run. It's a delicate balance to try to achieve with any adaptation. I'm certainly intrigued, but probably less optimistic than usual. I'm especially curious to see how the creators of the Risk series will attempt to showcase the nature of the game while creating a story that appeals to fans and general audiences alike. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more sci-fi and fantasy news and lore. And let me know in the comments what you think about this new Risk series and Beau Willimon's involvement. If you're a fan of Risk, what elements would you like to see showcased in a live-action adaptation? Do you have a favorite or least favorite game adaptation that's been developed or is currently in development? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.